Hi all, welcome back to Beanie Composter. Just like everything in the garden, things just take time. With the hot bin composter, sometimes it's just a matter of time before you get the temperatures up to hot composting. If you have been following our channel, you would have seen about 3 weeks ago I emptied the mini composter, and when I done that process, some of that waste I put into the larger hot bin, and at that time I also emptied some of the compost that was ready out of that one as well. But since I combined them both together, for about a good 3 weeks I've been struggling to get the temperature up. We've been sort of hovering just below the green, and we've had some cold weather, and we've also had some days that have been really good. But in that time I was starting to sort of question myself, why is it not getting hot when I'm going through all the processes that I've been trying to teach you guys. And I sort of came to the conclusion that I'm doing everything right, but sometimes it's just a matter of time before your hot bin comes up to temperature. So after 4 years plus of me hot composting, I still come across occasions where I struggle to keep the hot bin hot, or it just won't seem to go hot. I'm doing all the correct procedures, but it still doesn't seem to go hot. So I'll explain and go through what's happened, and what I did and where we've got to, and hopefully this video will help you out if you are struggling. And a little bonus in this video today, I'm going to show you the compost that I sieved in a previous video, and 1 year later what that's looking like and what I'm using it for. So I emptied the mini, and all the stuff out of the mini that hadn't composted down I added into the larger one. But before I did that, I took some of the already composted compost out of this one, just to have it lower down so I could get the extra waste in. But when I emptied out the bottom one, we weren't wet or anything, really good compost came out. And the base plate, I checked all the holes, there was everything was fine. This one was running well, and the mini was running well. I thought because the compost would be quite warm, it would just quickly get into the green and be hot composting again. I also at that time gave the bottom bit a bit of a clean up, and put some tape there where I could collect the leachate, because over the winter it just isn't worth it sometimes with all the rain just diluting everything. The compost that was already in there wasn't wet at all, so not much leachate was coming out, just the normal amount, but we weren't going up in temperature. And I was adding easily digestible waste, veg trimmings. I wasn't putting cooked food in there, but plenty of veg trimmings and garden waste into there. And that was every other day. And for a good 2-3 weeks it just wasn't coming into the green at all. And in that time I thought to myself, I'm going to empty the whole thing. I did a little video on the mini, underneath the base plate with sludge. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to empty the whole bin. So I took everything out of it and pulled up the base plate. And I'm not, like I say, we're not showing you everything in this video, but I'm just explaining. But just had a bit of leachate in the bottom. There was no sludge, no worms, no ants, or things that would maybe restrict the airflow. It was perfect. So I put it all back together, put the compost back in, and in that time days started to warm up. We're in Easter now, and we're at probably 19-20 degrees during the day. And a week or two ago we did have some cold mornings, but during the day we're still round about 13-14 degrees, which should really get your hot bin back up to temperature, no problem. So I kept stirring it up, and like I say, I emptied it, put the waste back in, and left that for a couple of days, and still nothing was really happening. And I'd give it a good stir up, and it was dry, so I didn't think I needed to put any more paper in there because we weren't wet, and you need the moisture in there anyway. And also, you know, plenty of bulking agent is in this, so I knew that I didn't need any more bulking agent in there. But we'd had a few sort of like tortilla wraps, some bread that, you know, the missus had put in the food caddy that had sort of gone a bit mouldy. I actually bought them back from work that they weren't being used, and you know, we didn't use them, and they just got left, and they ended up going mouldy. So we had quite a bit of like stale bread, and you know, some tortilla wrap, pita breads. They'd just gone stale, a bit mouldy. And the missus had been in the garden, so she'd been cutting quite a lot of stuff down, and so I was starting to panic a little bit that if the hot bin isn't hot composting, it's real difficult to get waste, and it just keeps going up and up and up and not reducing down. But the missus had done a lot in the garden, and she'd cut half of the rosemary bush that we've got just because it's getting so big. So, you know, I mixed a lot of that into it, as well as all that bread which was going mouldy, and I just threw that in. And then a couple of days later I noticed the temperature was really starting to go up, and you know, when you open the lid you could feel some heat in there. And you know, if you look at what's going on in there now, we are now a couple of days later way up into 60 degrees. I've just put some waste in today, and when we're at that temperature, you know, the temperature doesn't really come down now, it just sort of stays in the 60 degrees. Sometimes you're not really doing anything wrong, sometimes you just need to maybe give it that head start with a bit of stale bread, or you know, things that have gone a bit rotten. But for me, it's not about you're doing something wrong, it's just about giving it that time and just, you know, being patient. I went through every sort of procedure to try and sort it out, and some of the things I did do after I put that stale bread in was, I've got an old toothbrush here that this isn't so easy on a Mark II. On the Mark 1 you've got your mesh plate there that the air needs to go through, so I just got the brush and gave that, you know, a little clean up. I thought it was, you know, nice and clear anyway, but I just done that because that's something I've done in the past, and I'm not sure whether that really helped it. But you know, a couple of days later it was working, you know, fantastically. So I'm sure things like that do help, and it's something just to check even if it is okay. Also, with the top aeration valve, the Hotbin company would say I think you need a 2 to 3 millimeter gap, but I opened it a lot more just to see if I could get, you know, the air coming through and out, and that seemed to help me out as well. So that's another thing to maybe experiment around with if you are struggling to get yours hot. I did give it, you know, a quick stir up now and again, but as both of my raking sticks have been sort of bent with so much stirring, I kind of thought, well, everything in there, like the bulking agent, should be doing its job, so you shouldn't have to keep giving it a good old stir up all the time. So I didn't really give it too much of a stir up after I'd reintroduced everything back into the hot bin. And as I say, I just think it's like the bacteria from the bread and the staleness of all that stuff really did help to get some heat into there. And once you get that sort of initial ignition started, it seems to just counteract everything else, and it just sort of rockets up quickly. I haven't been putting any grass in there this year because I'm doing an experiment with the Mini. So normally if you've got like a hot bin this time of the year and you're cutting your grass, you'd put that in, and that would sort of give you a helping hand with the heat. But like I say, have a look what's going on in ours now and you'll see where we're at. As you can see there, we're at 60 degrees now, and you know, 2 or 3 weeks ago I was struggling to even get it into the green, let alone to 60 degrees. So this video is just about saying be patient, give it time, and you will get hot composting with all the methods we're showing you in our videos. I hope this has helped you out and inspired you, and now I'm going to show you some of the compost that we made last year, and if you do get one of these, what you could be producing for yourself. This is the compost that was in the video, how to store your hot bin compost, and it's roughly about a year ago we did that video, and I'm just going to show you, it's been sitting around in this bag all winter, and I'm going to show you what it's looking like now. Wow, it's like a £10 note in my pocket, it just doesn't want to come out. If you are new to hot bin composting, or you've just recently bought a hot bin, then follow our videos, and this is the sort of compost you'll be getting out of yours. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, give us a like, and if anyone's got any questions, me or people on the hot bin community would love to help you out. Me and the missus have got tons to do in the garden now, so until next time, happy composting and enjoy.